Knights playing as well as they are, you will not want to miss seeing their next home game in person. Baltimore comes to town for the first time to Metro Stadium. It's the next New York Knight home game. Call 1-800-GO-KNIGHTS. Get your tickets now. Or you can listen live here. Oh, look at Parkeet Scholl! This is ridiculous! That is another touchdown! Parkeet Scholl! I'm speechless. I can't believe this guy. I mean, look at the burst of speed at the second level.
4 down linemen for Louisville in what appears to be a 4-2-5 set. Coleman back to pass. Coleman pump fake, and then a sack. Rick O'Reilly with the big play to force the Houston punter on the field for the first time tonight. And for O'Reilly, that's sack number 7 on the season. O'Reilly, a monster on the inside. Big play there for the Louisville defense.
First and 10 of the 26, Marconi dropping the throw. And Marconi against the late blitz will go deep down the field, and that one is caught! Past Grayson Abarazzo. Shigeki can't catch him. It's a Mauler touchdown. The 3rd touchdown for Abarazzo in the game. And it just looked like the Legend defense kind of got tangled up. And Grayson went for the pick, and he over pursued.
That was just an outstanding throw by Rocco. I mean, he's 6'5", I believe. Yeah, he's 6'5", 225, long, rangy, strong, quick arm.
Rastelli back to pass. Rastelli going to the end zone. Pass is caught for a touchdown. Kendall Gilbert, and Baltimore's on the board. Give me some of that crab call. Baltimore cuts into their early deficit. Rastelli's got 6 touchdowns and no picks in the last 6 quarters of action. 2nd and 2 at the 40. Christensen will pass again. They are staying away from Kim. That ball, oh, it's belted up in the air, and Nick Nitro picked it off. That is tremendous defensive effort. Who dove in front of that pass? That was a Qantas Shine, who dove in front of the pass and knocked the ball up in the air. That was one of the best defensive plays I've seen in a long time out of a Qantas Shine. A.J. Levy, 6 seasons, all with Sioux Falls, the strong safety number 42. Chris Dodd, free safety in his 3rd season, wears number 49. Alex Parker and Nick Fargo, the linebackers, 91 and 92 respectively, as Rahman steps up in the pocket. Rahman gonna air it out deep, and Thomas Rahman's pass intercepted off the deflection by A.J. Levy. What a play by the veteran.
Well, you mentioned it, Cam. Levy and Dodd, probably the best safety combo here in the SFL. And Levy, a longtime veteran leader of this defense, comes away with his 6th interception.
So 4 receivers set here on 3rd down and goal. I guess this won't be a run. Christensen in the gun, looking towards the end zone, firing into the back of the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown. The Pride extend their lead.
What a throw by Christensen again. Has all day to throw and a post route. And that one, I mean, it's not bad coverage by Chappelle. It's just a perfect throw and a great route by Ken.
3rd down and 2 from the 12. Go Knights rings throughout Metro Stadium. St. Clair to pass. St. Clair to the end zone. Intercepted. Oh no. Joe Lynn picked it off. You gotta be kidding me. And 1 1st down will give the Crabs yet another 1-possession victory over New York. 2nd and 4 at the 41-yard line. Hand off to Overstreet, right side. Overstreet makes one man miss, and then another. And here goes Overstreet off to the races. Down the sideline, 20. He will be not tackled, and he scores again. 17th touchdown for David Overstreet. And Louisville has scored 19 straight points. And Overstreet is checking on the pulse of Oklahoma City.
Live from the ATL, it's time to bring the curtain down on what has been a tremendous 20th season for the Simulation Football League. Week 14 begins right now as the Atlanta Swarm, with their best record since they won the championship in season 14, look to lock up the #1 overall seed with a win tonight against the Florida Storm, the 3-time former champions, who are unfortunately out of the playoff race and just looking to play spoiler. Hello and a very warm welcome. Happy to have your company. My name is Michael Develop, and alongside Eddie Gage and Michelle Colson on stats, Cameron Irvine is our producer, and Nate Hall is with me on commentary for not just this game, but the 4th and final game of our broadcast schedule tonight. Nate, it's going to be a long one, but this game has a lot of history to it.
Yes, it certainly does. There is storylines galore that we're going to go through as this game progresses, and we were talking pregame about all the storylines that come along with this one. But not only is Atlanta going for their 11th and franchise highest total in wins tonight to try to seal up that 1 seed for the upcoming playoffs, but Florida here is looking to play spoiler tonight and avoid their season worst total in records since the coincidentally very same season, season 14. But let's go ahead and kick it here shortly.
Atlanta with a win would lock up the #1 seed. If Florida were to win, Atlanta would not be out of the race for the #1 seed, but they would have to hope for a Baltimore loss against DC. Atlanta will receive the opening kickoff. Ethan Sneed puts the ball on the tee, and we are underway here at the Hive in Georgia. Atlanta's starting offense looks like this. Bryant Dynasty is the quarterback. BDG Hollywood is the running back. Mitchell O'Brien at fullback. Kyle Finnemore, Siege Falco, and Boo Chisholm, the wide receivers. Tight end Jamal Wooding. Carter Hollywood and Sam Falco are on the offensive line. Electric blue helmets, black jerseys, blue pants for the Swarm tonight. Hollywood into the flat for Falco on first down. They'll pick up 9. Here's the Storm defense. Deontay Stoneville is on the defensive line along with Alessandro Tomaello, Pete Mitchell, and the GOAT of defensive line play, Alex Dominguez. Stephen Black, Ryan Tobin, and Aaron Gooden, the linebackers. Ryan Davidson, Evan Carroll, and Adam Jones, the corners. Adrian Blaine and Andrew Francis, the safeties. And that's the first run of the ball game from Mitchell O'Brien, the fullback, to give Atlanta a first down.
Mitchell O'Brien getting it started in the rushing game instead of BDG Hollywood, but you see he picked up the first down with that nice run up the middle, helped out by his offensive lineman, picking up a big gain there to move the sticks.
Had a lot of work in the rushing game for O'Brien this season. He's mostly been in there to block for this man, BDG Hollywood, who only gets 1 off the right-hand side. Nice tackle from Andrew Francis. O'Brien's carry to open up the game was only his 27th of the season for 70 yards, an average of 2.7, and no touchdowns yet for O'Brien. Three wide on 2nd and 9. Another stretch run to BDG, and nowhere to go as Ryan Davidson brings him down.
And we talked about the storied past of both these two franchises. Florida is well aware that this Atlanta offense is trying to go to BDG Hollywood as early and as often as possible, and they've done a good job of slowing him down early on in this drive.
Now 5 wide on 3rd and 8. Dynasty has time to throw. Good pocket down the field, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Andrew Francis. Interception number 45 of his career. And number 7 on the season.
just back there playing center field, right place, right time, got it off the deflection off of one of his teammates. But like I said, what a great interception on the very first drive that Florida had. And way to start this game off for Florida on defense, giving it right back to the offense for their first drive of this ball game.
Florida in the red helmets, white jerseys, navy pants with a light blue lightning bolt down the side, and that pass is complete to the wide receiver E.J. Minson. From quarterback Ron Cochran, here's the Florida Storm starting offense. Cochran is that Hall of Fame quarterback. Charlie Biletsky is the running back. Stephen Bush, Art Vandelay, and E.J. Minson, and Optimus Klein, the 4 wide receivers. Veridon Zarkov and Ron Haynes are the tight ends. Finley and Leroy James, the offensive line. Florida going 4 wide, and the pass is caught. Stephen Bush down the sideline, pushed out of bounds at the 7, and the Storm are in business early.
Wow. One big play later, Ron Cochran goes back to throw, finds a just one-on-one open receiver with Stephen Bush back there on, looked like that was going to be, I believe that was Napier, if I'm not mistaken, just on one-on-one coverage on an island, and Bush beats him there for a big gain.
9 yards on the pass play, thanks to Eddie Gage, who's doing offensive stats for us tonight. First down and goal, first run for Biletsky, and he gets nowhere. Second down and goal. Here's the Swarm defense. Mickey Gibson, Billy Ray Valentine, Leo Jefferson, and Joshua Williams on the defensive line. Cree Higgins, Diamond Blackwell, and Aquantis Shine. The linebackers, Jack Napier, Don Fletcher, and Jay Miraculous. The corners, Moose Papano, Grant Hardaway, and Chris Henry are the safeties. Ground game didn't work, so Florida will go back to the air. 7-step drop, corner route. It's caught in double coverage for the touchdown. How about that for E.J. Minson?
Wow. And getting a good touchdown on their first drive of the ball game to cap off a drive that started, well, was the main part with that big gain over to Stephen Bush, but capped off with a beautiful corner route over there to E.J. Minson. Just able to beat double coverage over there in the left corner of the end zone, and turning a turnover into points on the very first possession brings them up early. Does the Storm up 6?
Kick up and good from Ethan Sneed in his 7th season with the Florida Storm. Gets that one to go. 7-0 from the visiting team early on here. And that was a big blow for the Swarm. Swarm and Storm. I'm sure I'm going to mess it up at least once tonight.
And if I could cut in as they're kicking this one away here, Trillo, a thought that came to my mind is 2 of the biggest reasons why well, let's see what happens here. Fenimore. But yeah,
Fenimore was close to breaking that one. Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, Fenimore brought it out to the 32. I thought he was going to break it to the touchdown for a second. But yeah, the 2 of the biggest reasons for the success of the Swarm this season, one, BDG Hollywood on the ground has just been a monster. But 2, where in seasons past, as Bryant Dynasty might have struggled with his touchdown to interception ratio, this season he's on the plus side of that early, though, and this one he's on the side of that.
Into the flat for Hollywood, picks up 6. BDG, top 5 in the league in rushing yards, 1,176 on the year. 12 touchdowns for him. And the Atlanta Swarm in general, top 5 in offensive output, 31.5 points per game. And their rush yards per game is top 5 as well at 112. Hollywood gets a block, looking for an opening, and none appears as Adrian Blaine gets the tackle, brings up 3rd and 4.
Yeah, and that's to bring up a 3rd down, as you stated, and a big 3rd down as well to avoid turning this one back over to Florida here once again.
3rd and 4.
Oh.
Penalty flag flies as Bryant Dynasty was hit as he let go of the football. Not sure what this could be. Maybe a face mask, maybe a roughing the passer.
I didn't see anything. Let's see. Illegal man downfield.
Illegal man downfield. Brutal for Atlanta. Or illegal touching forward pass, I guess, because the ball bounced up and hit off the offensive lineman.
Yeah, it appears to be that low trajectory pass from Bryant Dynasty must have hit I think it did hit the helmet of one of the offensive linemen as he was looking for his receiver, and that's going to be a penalty every time. But it gets declined, though. Oh, what we got? An offsides? Offsides, maybe? That would give Atlanta a first down. Yes, indeed.
Wow. Offsides on a punt. That I have very rarely seen. I'm not going to say never, because I have seen it before, but it is very rare.
But the special teams coach and the head coach for Florida is just losing his mind right now. Art Vandelay cannot be a happy camper for sure.
Vandelay, the head coach, Max Paul, the offensive coordinator. Vandelay also handles the defensive side for Florida. Over the middle, caught. And calling that one in is Show Nuff. As Atlanta making Florida pay. Or excuse me, that was Jamal Wooding.
Yeah, Jamal Wooding getting a good cross pattern over the middle. Way out in front of any close defender on that pattern. As the closest defender looked to be Adrian Blaine as she was coming in from her safety position. Just couldn't get there in time on the coverage.
The point still stands. Atlanta making Florida pay for that special teams miscue. Another pass over the middle, complete to Falco, and he spins his way to the 25-yard line.
Falco now with his second catch, and he is Dynasty's leading target this season, as he's well over 1,000 yards on the season, up to 1,023 in 9th place in the league coming into this game.
Caw, says Sheesh Falco. Here's Finnemore, gets roughed up by Aaron Gooden, but not before he picks up 8 yards.
And not only is Finnemore a deadly weapon in the receiving game off kickoffs, but he's also a good receiver option for Dynasty coming off of those out routes as well. Good hands to go with that, getting a good 8 yards to bring up a 2nd and short now in the red zone.
Hollywood, flag flies as Finnemore makes a catch for what would be a first down. We'll have to check the flag.
Roughing the passer, because again, I didn't see anything. Yep.
Yes, roughing the passer. Yeah. So our 62s had some work to do in this first quarter, mostly against Florida. And the Storm continuing to hurt themselves on this drive. It's their second penalty.
Deontay Stoneville coming in off of defensive end position, coming in a little too hot and getting a little too physical with the quarterback, Bryant Dynasty, off of that pass and going half distance to goal now inside the 10.
First power eye set we've seen from the Swarm here this evening. They're going to hand it off to Hollywood, and somehow Hollywood gets away. How did he do that? BDG touchdown.
Get out of here. BDG Hollywood looked like he was bottled up to the line of scrimmage, but somehow he kept working his feet, squeezing between a couple of tacklers, and all of a sudden he squirts through that initial push and that initial line, and he's off into the end zone off of the right side of the tackles for 6 points, and we're 1 point away from tying this thing up, large in part due to the penalties that Florida had committed during that drive.
The SFL convention is not in Vegas again this year, but I think we just saw a magic show, because that was a disappearing act from PDG Hollywood. Oh, look, he appears in the end zone, and nobody on the defense knew where he was.
Yeah, that is for sure. Boy, I want to see some more runs like that out of him. He is one of the biggest highlight shows I think that we've got in this league. He not only can he disappear, but he can also spin, move, juke, and everything else he can think of.
We're tied up 7-7 halfway through the first. Max Paul went on record with Eddie Gage, who's doing stats for us tonight before this game, and said he expects a shootout. And after the first couple of drives, I would be inclined to agree with him.
It is certainly looking like that in that last Atlanta scoring drive, going 51 yards and about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, 3 minutes 20 seconds, and kept off by that run by BDG Hollywood. Yeah, looks to be a shootout so far, though.
Can tackle from Blitzky and picks up 4. This is the second meeting of the season between these two teams. Atlanta won the first game all the way back in week 2, 37-27. BDG in that game, 262 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's a monster for sure.
Nice spin move by Blitzky to create some space and pick up a first down for the Storm up to the 37-yard line.
Yeah, Bullet just said, hey, BDG, you got some spin moves. I got a couple to go and match yours by evading a couple of swarm tacklers and getting that first down. Good job by him to evade those guys and getting that chain moving for them.
And he had juked a Quanta Shine out of his shoes. He's a 15-season, 6-time All-Star Hall of Famer at linebacker, and he made him look silly, and it's a 3rd straight carry for Charlie, and he picks up 4 again. If you're new to the SFL, the Simulation Football League combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at www.simulationfl.net. The SFL, it's football for everyone. 4th straight carry for Belitsky, and he weaves his way through Atlanta defenders to midfield.
And looks like it's going to be the Bullet show this drive so far, and it seems to be working so far to perfection as Bullet's showcasing his juking and spinning skills so far, making their way up to midfield over the course of the last few plays. But this time, he stays on the sidelines as they're going past.
5 wide. Cochran surveys. His left arm delivers a strike for a first down to Art Vandelay.
Vandelay's first reception of the ball game here comes down with it inbounds. I thought it might have gotten a penalty for a late hit out of bounds, but I think with the storied history and the amount of animosity perhaps maybe between these two teams, I think these refs are just apt to let these guys play a little bit here tonight, especially with Florida's last game being here this evening.
Bounced outside. I believe it's the backup running back, Stanley Nordellis. And he picks up a yard. But you'd think for two teams that have been around both since season 8, they would have played each other more often than just 7 times. This is the 7th all-time meeting between these two. Florida has won 4 and lost 2 in the matchup. Beletsky back on the field. They continue the ground game and a 6-yard gain. But my end point, Nate, is that yes, Atlanta beat Florida earlier this season. The last time Atlanta beat Florida was 23-16 on the 16th of February 2020. That's season 14. That's the last time the Atlanta Swarm were champions.
And we'll have to see the outcome of this game to see, A, does Atlanta win this one? B, does that mean Atlanta's on track in the postseason? We'll see.
Oh, the Stars that pertain to this game seem to be aligned to the fact that Atlanta's going to make another run at the title. But of course, this may be one of the more open playoffs in the last couple of years. With the line so tight to even get in, every team that's in has a shot at making a run.
Oh, absolutely.
It looks like we're going to run down the clock and call a timeout as Maletsky on his fifth touch, in 6 plays, was unable to pick up a third down conversion. And it'll be a punt with 33 seconds left to go in the first quarter.
Should be a field goal. Is it? Should be a field goal attempt, correct? Should be. By
See if we're
Florida.
in Snead's range.
Yeah, I would say about 49
this will
yards.
be a 49-yarder. Snead, perfect on the year. 26 of 26, but this one is from a pretty long way away. The kick is on the way, and it is good with room to spare. So the Storm lead the Swarm 10-7 with 30 seconds to go in the first quarter.
And they'll pick up their second lead of this ball game after getting this early 7-0 lead. They'll regain the lead now after that successful drive ended in 3 points. Didn't end in the 7 that they were probably hoping for, but hey, points nonetheless. And when you're facing this Atlanta team who's only lost 1 game all season, you'll take all the points you can get.
That was the longest drive of the game, covering 3 minutes and 40 seconds. And with 25 seconds left to go, Finnemore gets it out to the 26. The SFL convention is coming to Cincinnati, Ohio, July 28th to 30th for season 21 kickoff weekend. For room reservation details and the weekend schedule, see the Convention Alerts channel in the SFL Discord server. Rooms are going fast. Reserve your special group rate today. We'll see you there. Nate, I know that's up and around where you are. Are you going to be at the convention this year?
Oh, absolutely. I've already got my room booked.
Oh, look out. We don't get to talk about convention
No.
because BDG is putting us all on notice. A spin move to take 2 defenders out of the play.
Look, and that's one thing we've came accustomed to out of BDG Hollywood over the seasons. Not only is he a good runner that can spin and juke out of the backfield, but once you get him in open field off of receptions like this, where he's got open space to roam without a defender within 5 or 10 yards of him, I mean, he's got, coming into this ball game, he's got 61 receptions for 315 yards, which is about 5 yards per reception. He has space to roam, but not that time though.
Yeah, 2-yard loss as leading the charge was Stephen Black, and that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter. Both teams with a touchdown, and the late long field goal by Snead has the road team on the top as we hit the end of the first quarter. 10-7 Storm right here on the Simulation Football League, presented by APM Music on YouTube. First game of 4 tonight. It's going to be a late night here in the SFL broadcast booth. Michael Cirillo, Nate Hall here with you. Atlanta down by 3, and whoa, that's 2 negative plays in a row as the defense comes after Hollywood.
After 1 quarter and 15 seconds, give or take, Bolesky's got 31 yards rushing, and thanks to our statisticians, Hollywood's got less yards than O'Brien now, 5 attempts, 7 yards. I'm sorry, 6 attempts, 3 yards.
We're going to try and go back to the air and complete it down the numbers to Boo Chisholm, his first catch of the day.
Yeah, that's his first catch of the day, and he's come really well along for this team as being a nice receiving option for Bryant Dynasty to throw to, and this team is just full of weapons, and that's a huge reason to the success, I think, of this ball club this season as well.
Chisholm with a big day, potentially could get over 1,000 yards on the season. Came into the game with 805. Oh, another nasty spin move by Hollywood, and Atlanta is threatening the red zone.
Open field, open field, open field. That's what he can do to you. Break ankles. Around 2 defenders that time. Not just 1, but 2. And making them look silly out there. And getting a good 15 yards off of that spin cycle tornado style out there in the open field. Another first down, now inside the 30. Why not just see what BDG can do here also?
Nice little 17-yard scamper there after the catch for Hollywood. To the air again, into the flat, caught by Chisholm for a 7-yard gain. The dynamic between the two, All-Star and Hall of Fame players on this offense, BDG Hollywood and Boo Chisholm, they've both been in the league and on the team 13 seasons. But something that always shocks me when I see it, Boo Chisholm has more All-Star game appearances than BDG Hollywood does. Hollywood breaks a tackle and gets a first down. You say anything negative about me, this is what you get.
Oh, he was dead to rights in the backfield, 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage. He breaks out of the tackle right there. And he says, "Get off me." Shimmy shakes out of a tackle and doesn't go down until after the first down marker by the tackle of Aaron Good, the linebacker. But he said, "No, sir, Ryan Tobin, you're not getting a tackle from us this time."
Tobin would have had his 12th tackle for loss of the season, but it was not to be. Out in the flat to BDG. Spin move gets past 1, and he picks up 7 to the 7 and halves the distance to the goal.
I keep forgetting to bring my dialer or counter with me before the game starts, because one of these Atlanta games that I call, I'm gonna start counting the spin moves that BDG Hollywood makes as he makes them, just to see how many he does.
Well, there's another one, but he doesn't get the first down. He's a yard short, 3rd and 1. Now you go to Hollywood up the middle, where besides that touchdown run, he has struggled. Or do you continue to go to the outside to try and get this 1 yard?
Well, you know, he had that magic trick for that touchdown back in the early first quarter on that first touchdown drive, so we'll see what they do here.
Might be a swing pass. A lot of teams love to run the swing out of this set. No, they go into the flats, and picking up a first down, but not a touchdown, is Jamal Wooding.
Yep, not quite a touchdown, 2 yards out. I think this would be a good time to call that run up the middle for BDG. They got the offensive lineman to do it.
Offset I, strong side right. They give it to BDG, and somebody missed a block. Because Pete Mitchell was all up in BDG's business in the backfield for a loss of 5.
All up in his business like nobody's business. Oh my, what a tackle for loss. Just absolutely whiffed on a block. Somebody up there in the front line is going to be docked on their pay at the end of this weekend.
And now it's 5 wide on 2nd and goal. Dynasty trying to throw for a touchdown to the back of the end zone, and it is caught. Did he get the feet down? Kyle Finnemore, yes, he did.
Finney went tap in the back of the end zone for 6 points. Can't do it any better than that. And just beautiful catch, beautiful concentration. The rest is history. And Atlanta, for the first time today, about 4 minutes into the second quarter, has taken their first lead of this ball game.
Bold call by the Atlanta coaching staff. That'll be Mark Chisholm and Joshua Williams to go 5 wide from the 5-yard line. And usually when we see those kind of things, Nate, we see something into the flat or maybe a stop route towards the goal line. But that time he took a shot to the back of the end zone. And you know as well as I do that we see those intercepted more times than not. But it was converted that time for a touchdown.
Yeah, and the biggest problem with those kind of routes is what we almost saw. Oh, look out.
It's a scramble. I think Florida retained it. And they,
Yeah, they
do.
did. Oh, that was lucky right there for Florida. Number 82 for them was in the right place at the right time to pick that up and save it for his offense. What a big, big heads-up play for this Florida team.
It was the 3rd-string tight end, Shaba Debo. And Florida immediately trying to get those points back. 5 wide, over the middle, short to the crosser. That's Art Vandelay to pick up half the distance.
Uh-oh.
Oh, and Art Vandelay is staying down.
He looked slow on that one to get up, and he looked a little shaky on his knees before he rolled over on his back. It looked, oh yeah, that hit just looked awkward. Cree Higgins just, or no, that was Eric. I'm sorry, yeah. Yeah, Cree Higgins. I was right the first time, but yeah, just something about the way he hit him didn't look great.
May see some Jose Galliano, who's the 4th wide receiver now, coming into formations. Art Vandelay is out for the foreseeable future. We will see if he comes back into the game. Nice little 4-yard run there by Velitsky, sets up a 3rd and 1.
We'll have to see how serious his injury is, whether he'll get to come back in. Hopefully we'll get an update soon with that information.
Weak side handoff. Nice job by the offensive line to create space for Velitsky. And they like this scenario, so they're going to go up tempo here.
I like it too. They're moving it and getting yards.
Velitsky gets 2. Looks like he might have gotten more than that, but they spot the ball at the 40.
Don't get stuck in this play, though. That's one of the biggest mistakes.
Well, if it's the only play in the formation, they're going to have to be stuck in it. 3rd down and 6 now.
They have to throw it, though, and I don't think they got enough in that play to get this 1st down.
Something tells me this is the only... Oh, no, they do have a throw in this formation, and it's complete for a 1st down.
Oh, very nice. Very, very nice. I like that out of Florida's offense. Nice completion.
Jose Galliano, no, I think that was Jose Galliano with the catch, but the tackle was made by Moose Papineau, and this time they go back to the ground game and an 11-yard pickup for Velitsky.
And I apologize. Before that run by Bolesky, he had 45 yards already. So he picks up 1,000 yards on the season in rushing. So he joins the 1,000-yard club on rushing on the season. So congrats to him on that accomplishment.
Both of our running backs in the game today, Hollywood and Velitsky, have eclipsed the 1,000-yard rushing mark for the season. Here goes Charlie again. That time he only gets 1. Cree Higgins with the tackle.
And I think Florida just really needs to focus on regaining this lead. They've proven they can move the ball down the field and do good things in both run and pass game.
This time to the flat.
Oh!
E.J. Minson struck Kyle Finnemore on the sideline. He's not even in the game, man. Show some kindness.
Hey, no, they took out Art Vandelay, so he's just trying to return the favor, even though he's not in the game. You know, you take out ours, I'll take out you. You know, truck you guys over, even if you're not in the game. So a little bit of tit for tat. You know, I don't mind that. You know, a little bit.
But a gamesmanship from Minson, 3rd and 3.
There you go.
Cochran in the shotgun. Here comes the defense. He has to throw off his back foot. The pass is caught. What a throw by the Hall of Famer.
What a throw and catch. Steven Bush getting the completion over on the far sidelines. A little bit of a wobbler coming out of the arm of Cochran, but Bush, being the veteran that he is, able to get his hands on that one nonetheless, and now we're inside the red zone once again.
Cochran, third in yards passing all time in the SFL. He gives it to Bletsky. What a beautiful move around the outside and into the end zone, and Florida takes the lead.
I have one question on that run. Where was Atlanta's defense on that one? There was just wide open spaces, great blocking on that right-hand side by the offensive line of Florida. Bullitt saw it. He saw the seal blocks on the right-hand side, followed it all the way to the end zone. Beautiful run, beautiful vision, all the way for 6 points. Florida retakes the lead, and back and forth we go.
Beletsky's 11th touchdown of the season. And I think that's the most impressive drive by either team in this game. 11 plays, 78 yards in 3 minutes and 19 seconds. What a drive. And especially since it almost ended because they got caught in that formation in the hurry-up. And they pulled out that pass to the fourth wide receiver.
Wow, that is... You take out our Vandelay, it doesn't matter. They're going to find their options anyway.
Here comes Finnemore. Remember, he got roughed up a little bit on the sidelines. Only makes it out to the 26. Miss any SFL action? Check out highlights of SFL games on the SFL YouTube channel and on Highlight Nation, provided by Victor's Valiant, YouTube's premier sports highlight maker. Subscribe to Highlight Nation and Victor's Valiant on YouTube for all your sports highlight needs. Approaching 2 minutes to go here in the first half in a topsy-turvy game. Back and forth the lead goes. Florida's with it. Atlanta wants to take it away. And Art Vandelay will not be returning to this one, and he is done for the season.
He is done for the season, and he can start his prep for next season early. That's unfortunate for Vandelay. He'll be watching, and I'm sure he'll still be coaching from the sidelines his squad up for the rest of this one, trying to cheer his team on and keep the morale up for the rest of the squad.
Hand off, middle, first down. Nice little run there. That's Hollywood in between the tackles, where we have seen him struggle a little bit so far today.
Yeah, he has struggled. He just crossed the 10-yard mark, 11 total yards off of 9 carries. He's got more receiving yards than he does rushing right now.
The flat. Dangerous throw. Cochran tried to, Dynasty tried to hit Finnemore. Adam Jones was there. And if he picks that one off, it's going back to the house.
Oh, I know. That's why I was making those noises. That had pick 6 written all over it. And I was waiting for him to hang on to that one and not just be a pass deflection. Young man, you've got to hang on to that and let your team be up by 10 right now. Come on.
They give Atlanta a second opportunity at this 2nd and 10. Florida up by 3, trying to avoid tying their worst record in franchise history at 5-7. Slinging it deep. And Finnemore makes a great catch, sliding in to Florida territory. Check that. That was Siege Falco.
Yeah, Falco now with his 3rd catch of the ball game, making Florida's defense pay for that last mistake made by Aaron Gooden, beating Ryan Davidson over the middle on that middle deep post route by Falco, getting a first down across midfield.
Just a 3-step drop for Dynasty. Offensive line does its job.
Oh.
Out to Mitchell O'Brien. What a run to the fullback.
O'Brien just told Evan Carroll to sit down. I got a first down to get over inside the 35 down to the 31-yard line. What a play by that fullback.
Then you see fullback with the big stiff arm putting defenders in the ground.
Oh.
They gave it back to O'Brien again right before the 2-minute warning. He didn't get anything, and Atlanta trying to answer back down 3 here on the Simulation Football League presented by 8 PM Music on YouTube.
Going back to that last play, Florida's got size 2 along that defensive line. That was big old Alex Dominguez stopping the fullback for a half-yard loss.
Dynasty pump fakes. Into
Oh,
the
no.
flats. The
Oh,
football
no.
is fumbled, and some part of me thinks this is going to be overturned.
Yeah.
Black
Stephen
picked
Black.
it up.
Yeah, I was going to say, Stephen Black picked up the fumble off of Adam Jones' supposed forced fumble. However, I don't think there was enough there to call that a catch, as the backup wide receiver didn't have it long enough in my eyes.
So we can go back to talking about Alex Dominguez. I called him the defensive line GOAT right at the top of the broadcast. A 4-time All-Star, #1 in sacks all-time, #1 in tackles for loss all-time.
Mm-hmm.
He pretty much single-handedly defined an era of SFL football back when the Florida, back then Alaska Storm, won through 3 straight titles from season 10 to 12.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
Florida maintains the football.
Oh, going Florida's way, and now Florida with 2 timeouts before the half and just under 2 minutes. They have tons of time to score and get this thing up by 2 scores before the half. Oh!
We'll run it. Valetsky escapes, spins once, spins twice, first down. He had to be chased down by Leo Jefferson, the defensive tackle.
And I thought he was gone. I thought he was off to the races to the end zone, but luckily for Atlanta, Jefferson was there to stop him before that even happened. Oh, nice.
Cochran avoids a sack in the backfield and pitches it out in the flat to J.W. Doyle. And it's only a 1-yard gain, second down and 9.
And
the
that's...
referees have had their hands all over this first half, Nate.
Oh, yeah.
With the,
they have.
The 2 crucial penalties against Florida to set up the first Atlanta touchdown. And now taking potential points off the board for Atlanta with that fumble.
Absolutely, yeah.
Once again, out route to E.J. Minson, only picks up a couple yards, 3rd down and 4.
I was going to say, though, on that previous play where Cochran ducked, Cochran's not a Hall of Famer for nothing, you know. He's defined plays like that where he's ducked and avoided sacks to turn what would have been 5 to 6 yard losses into, even though it was only a gain of 1, it wasn't a loss of yardage.
Bell tie snap for Cochran. It's flat again and tapping the toes for a first down is Stephen Bush. Florida being very smart about the time. Just going to the outside, getting yards and getting out of bounds. They don't have to call timeouts. The booth is going to review this.
Yeah, and if they overturn this, I think this is going to be like, whoopsie, we're gonna overturn this because we messed up on the previous call.
I don't think it would even be that bad. It's the difference between 2nd down and 3rd down, yes, but it's not a drive ender.
No.
I think he's in anyway.
I do too.
No, he's out.
Oh. Two questionable calls within the last 30 seconds. It is the last game of the season, so maybe the refs are just kind of feeling like they want to be questionable tonight. I don't know. I don't know what this.
So it's first down for Florida, and it's complete deep over the middle. And it doesn't matter anyway because the Storm got the first down. They like this formation. They're going to go up tempo. 1 minute to go. Cochran to Bush. Can Bush turn upfield? No, he stays in bounds as well. We got some players running in late.
Yeah.
I think that's E.J. Minson who's late to get into the formation. 2nd and 2. Cochran, a bullet down the middle. Caught to the 10. 35 seconds left. That was caught by Minson.
Still staying up tempo. They still have 2 timeouts, but they haven't needed to use them.
Short, middle, Bush, timeout.
I really want to go to that very first play after the overturned call because Ron Cochran and Verdon Zarkov just said, you know what? You want to make a call like that where we were in bounds and overturn it and call it out of bounds? We'll take matters in our own hands and get a first down catch anyways. And then they roll off another 3 plays and get it all the way down here inside the 10 yard.
1 second left. Florida has one more timeout trying to increase their 3-point lead before the half. Cochran, nobody open downfield. Shovels it off to Boletsky, and Charlie Boletsky stretches for the pylon.
Oh, no.
And he is half a yard short.
Please tell me they're not going to go for a field goal at the half-yard line, taking their last time out.
We shall see.
Yo.
It's under 15 seconds, so they're going to set up for the field goal. And that is a huge 4-point swing for Atlanta with a tackle on the 1-inch line.
This is just the cake, or the whipped cream on top of the cake here, because on a first half that had 2 questionable overturned calls, then you get a field goal with 14 seconds left from the half-yard line with 0 timeouts, but still, they should have just punched it in my eyes, and just, yeah, it's, I feel you, Henry Jones. Oi, oi, oi. Yeah, I feel you.
This seems to happen a lot in any sport. When you come down to the end of the season, last game, last couple of games, right? There's Florida is confirmed out. Atlanta is confirmed to have a bye. They're either the 1 or the 2 seed. Both teams maybe playing a little loose.
Yeah. Yeah, they may be.
The referees maybe playing a little loose. But
yeah.
it's been an interesting first half for sure. They're going to run it. Hollywood bounced it outside, and at any point you could expect BBG Hollywood to take one, but that time he's not going to get there. And we're going to head to the half. The Storm, up 20-17, looking to pull the upset here in the Hive in the final week of play. Nate, your thoughts on that very interesting first half?
Well, for one, let's not give the Swarm any extra points than they have. It's 20-14. But, however, it was a good first half by the Storm, getting out to a 6-point lead here at halftime, getting the job done both through the air and on the ground. Can we just talk about Cochran for a second? 100% completions in the first half. 17 for 17, 174 yards. Obviously no interceptions because he's 100% completion rate. He has a touchdown to his name. Boletsky's 81 yards on rushing. And despite not having any touchdowns, I'm sorry, he does have one touchdown. One touchdown in the half, so each quarterback and running back has one touchdown each. On the other side, Dynasty, he's not playing a terrible game. However, he is even on the touchdown interception ratio. one of each, and he's not perfect, having 3 incompletions along with that 1 interception.
And something that is kind of remarkable, BDG Hollywood has 11 rushing yards.
Yeah, 11 rushing yards for a running back who came into this game on the season having almost 1,200 yards, good for 4th in the league, having only 11 this entire first half. And really the only saving grace for his total number of yards has been his moves, spins, and jukes in the open field off of his receptions off of the swing pass. Other than that, as we see the questionable overturn call off the fumble here on the replay, the first of 2 questionable overturn calls in the first half. But nonetheless, had it not been for his receiving on the receptions out in the open off of his swing passes, I think Atlanta would be in worse trouble than they are now.
1 touchdown for Atlanta, or the 1 rushing touchdown for Atlanta has come from BDG Hollywood, but it was a short run. That was the one where he looked to be dead to rights in the backfield, but he got through anyway. That, at the time, gave Atlanta the lead. Florida closed strong at the end of the first half to take a 20-14 lead as we get set for the second half. And crucially, the Storm starts with the football.
A quick scoring update, if you will, as they bring out the return to the 26-yard line on the other game that's going on between DC and Baltimore. Because, of course, should Atlanta lose this game, Baltimore would need to win the other game to have the 1 seed. However, they are down in the second quarter of that game, 14-6. So should they continue to lose that game, and that's at the 2-minute warning of the second quarter, so should they continue to lose that game, Atlanta would still be safe at that first seed.
Now, it is interesting because if Baltimore loses to DC, they could drop out of the second spot. They could drop all the way out of the first round buys entirely and have to go on the road for the first time since season 16 in the playoffs.
And how interesting would that be after the run of dominance that they've had since season 17? We were talking about that pregame, talking about Baltimore's last road loss in the playoffs. It's been since season 16 that has happened. I believe we said that was against this Florida team.
It was in season 16, a Florida Storm team that went all the way to the championship game and lost to Denver.
So full of more storylines between these 2 teams that are intertwined with other teams that are playing right now.
We'll keep an eye on that Baltimore game. Maybe we'll have a game break from SFL Studios from Cameron Irvine for you later. But for Atlanta, they can't think about that. All they got to think about is win this game and be the number 1 overall seed, have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. But right now, Charlie Boletsky is out-rushing BDG Hollywood in this game. Not a phrase I would have thought I would say when we started this stream tonight.
Yeah, and to show you how much Atlanta's defense has been on the field, thanks to our stats team of Eddie Gage and Rochelle Colston. Eddie has got it in our chat here. Oh, nice run once again by Bullet. He got up though.
Yeah, every time you see a player down like that, especially a crucial player like Boletsky, you think, oh, please get up.
Yeah, please. But that run puts him equally at 100 yards for the game. So he's reached the century mark. But going back to my original point, 1/2, 30 tackles for Atlanta's defense to show you how long this defense has been on the field trying to stop Florida.
Boletsky again. And only 20 tackles for Florida in the ball game, whereas Atlanta is up to now 36.
Yikes.
This time, oh, they had Blitzky line up as the fullback and dive through for the first down.
And Bullet is just taking a beating out there. He's taking longer and longer to get up. Oh. Yeah, well, we might be getting a update sooner rather than later. We'll keep that as it is. But Bullet just keeps getting pounded out there on the field, taking longer to get up.
That time, Blitzky takes a big hit from Diamond Blackwell, one of the newer players on this Atlanta Swarm defense. Only been here 3 seasons. And besides the 3 rookies, Mickey Gibson, Carter Hollywood, and Sam Falco, there are no new players on this Atlanta team from a season ago. And that says a lot about an organization and the culture of an organization when you're able to keep players for extended periods of time like that. I mean, you've got Joshua Williams, 10 seasons, Quanta Shine, 13 seasons, Hollywood and Chisholm, 13 seasons, Sheesh Falco, 10 seasons, just to name a few.
Oh, yeah. This team is very tight-knit, very close, very low turnover.
Has blockers to the 10, wrestled down at the 7, a touchdown-saving stop by Papado.
Wow, what a run by Bullet. Doing their best to get a 2-score lead here on this drive and doing a good job of it, I might add. Nice following of his blocks off that right-hand side by Boletsky. And they're inside the 10 now.
Boletsky got blown up that time. Somebody missed the block. And Cree Higgins says, I'll eat you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the backfield. 2nd and goal.
Well, don't make me hungry. I haven't eaten dinner yet, but I guess it'll be a late snack.
You, sir, have made a mistake. Because
yes, I have.
we're going right into another game after this.
Yes, I know this. I'll eat a snack at about 1 a.m. if time.
Into the flat. Minson can't turn up field. 3rd down and goal. And Atlanta is desperate for another stop. Remember, right at the end of the first half, they forced a field goal from the inch line with 15 seconds to go in the first.
However, if they should force another field goal, it still would be a 2-score lead, and Atlanta has not done anything on offense since about early to midway through the 2nd quarter.
Boletsky stays in to block, and the pass is overthrown and incomplete.
So it will force a field goal attempt out of Ethan Sneed. He is perfect on the season, perfect on the day. Just a bad, well, not really a bad throw, just ran out of real estate for Vincent, really. One of those throws again that should have went for a shorter out route or a shorter cross route. Instead, it went to a route that's meant for a deeper pattern past 10 yards, but he didn't have that much room.
Right read from Ron Cochran. He was between the corner and the safety. The ball was just thrown out of bounds, and I think even if E.J. Minson hung on to the ball, he would have been out anyway. So it's a field goal.
He just ran out of real estate.
Yeah, exactly. Field goal up and good from Sneed. His 3rd of the game. And it's 23-14 Florida.
Atlanta needs to respond, or else they're going to find themselves in some trouble.
So Ethan Sneed is 1 field goal away from 30 on the season. That drive was 5 minutes and 21 seconds. Talk about dominating time of possession.
First drive of the 3rd quarter, and Florida wants Atlanta's offense to stay off the field as much as possible in the second half to prove a point and to hang on to this lead.
It's up to Bryant Dynasty and company to respond. Can they get the run game going? With BDG, hasn't been there so far yet today. That's a not very good pass into the flat, and Finnemore goes backwards for 3 yards.
Need to find an option downfield, not behind the line of scrimmage, and that was not the option he should have went to.
2nd and 13. Now they really got to look downfield. They set up the screen to the weak side, and the defense is all over. Did pick up some yards, but not nearly enough. 3rd down and 6.
Yeah, Ryan Davidson, he was over there quick, fast, and in a hurry to shut that one down along the sidelines. Big 3rd down coming up. And interestingly enough, Atlanta has been first in the league this season on 3rd downs at 61%.
Well, not that time. Battled away with authority.
Oh.
Stephen Black with the deflection.
And just to pick up on that point, on 3rd down efficiency, thanks again to our stat team for the stat. The Atlanta offense is now 2 for 5 on 3rd downs at 40% after that failed 3rd down, which is well under their 61% rate.
First punt of the game for Low Pan. And it's going to be decent field position for Florida as they look to increase their 23-14 lead. 324 total yards to 199 for Florida over Atlanta to this point.
Just dominating this game is Florida, and if they keep up this pace and keep up the way they have through the 2.5 quarters, they're on their way to 5 wins out of 7 in the series.
And it's intercepted over
wow.
the middle and caught by the wrong team. If you're Florida, Chris Henry with the takeaway for Atlanta.
Bow down to the royalty as Chris the King Henry gets an interception, just getting in the way of that pass thrown by Cochran, making his first mistake of the ball game. Oh, just at the most crucial time as he's trying to lead the team down the field and turning it right back over to Atlanta.
And this is a massive net yardage gain for Atlanta. They went from backed up inside their own 30 to inside the 40 of Florida.
Wow. And this drive is huge for Atlanta too, to not only get back in this ball game, but to turn turnover into points, whether it be 3 or 7 at this point.
3-by-1 plus the tight end. Dynasty lasering it down the numbers, and Boo Chisholm has a touchdown for the Swarm.
And just as I said, they needed a score. Who steps up? None other than Boo Chisholm off of a pass beautifully thrown by the Bryant Dynasty hair flip himself over to that left-hand side. Beautiful route run, too, by Chisholm off of the corner route off that left-hand side. Just blowing right past the defender of Florida and off to the races into the end zone. 1 point away from being a 2-point deficit.
Unfortunately, this is not the XFL, so you can't go for 3 after a touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
The kick is up and good. It's a 2-point game. Florida 23, Atlanta 21 off of the team-leading 8th receiving touchdown for Boo Chisholm on the season. And they turn the turnover into 7 points fast as lightning.
And just like that, The score is tied 21 apiece between Florida and DC after a 21-6 deficit erased by the Vultures.
Penalty flag flies. It was a bit of an awkward catch on the return of the goal line for Optimus Klein. And it's going to be a holding call. This is likely on Florida. It is.
It is,
and
yeah.
Back him up.
Half the distance to the goal on that one, probably, or maybe only a 10-yard penalty, but nonetheless, it's going to back the Storm up to start this drive off, and that's not what you need by Florida at this point, because that's going to further get Atlanta's, oomph going in their direction.
Another referee intervention in this game. We've had a bunch of them. You know who else has intervened in this game? Bullet Poletsky.
Yes,
as he
has.
gets another massive carry to get them out of the shadow of their own goal line.
I think that's going to put them at $1.50 on the game after that run. That started at the 11-yard line thereabouts and up to the 20. Yeah, that's going to put them at about 154 on the day. 155 to be exact. Thank you, statisticians, on that run. Oh, wow. 31-second scoring drive, by the way, on that previous Atlanta drive. Thank you, that team, once again, by Atlanta.
Throw caught, sliding to midfield. It's Stephen Bush. And Florida has some pep in their step here in the second half after conceding a touchdown.
And as soon as I say Bullet is now at 155 on rushing, a deep throw, beautifully thrown by Cochran right over the middle to Bush to pick up another big gain across midfield.
Last week against Seattle, look out, Cochran stays on his feet, throws it down the field, and it's incomplete. Oh my goodness, it's another Houdini act in the backfield for Ron Cochran to even get that pass away.
Jefferson almost got there for the sack, but Cochran shaked him off, said, "Get off me." Would have been even better would it be if he somehow completed that to his receiver, but unfortunately, the receiver on the other end just couldn't come up with it.
I mean, it's a difference between 2nd and 10 and 2nd and 16.
It's
huge escape for Cochran.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He throws it deep again. It's intercepted by Henry again. Second time in as many drives. If you come at the king, you best not miss.
Best not miss, and you best respect the king. Start bowing down to the name after he gets his second pick of the quarter. Looking deep middle for his receiver, and the king says, "Not on my watch," as he comes in clutch for his deep.
Chris Henry has doubled his interception total on the season. He's now got 4. Here's BDG, breaks the tackle. Hollywood off to the races, past midfield, and finally dragged down at the 47-yard line. And he has just tripled his rushing yards for the game, has Hollywood.
Yes, he has. Hollywood said, "Get off me." Right there, get off me. And I'm off to the races. Cross the 30, and I'm going to take it across midfield before I get tackled by the secondary. What a run by Bullet. He was inspired after his defense came up with the clutch play by King Henry, and inspired to take it all the way across the Florida side of the field. Let's see if they can continue to play this inspired way of football.
BDG Hollywood is the Thanos of SFL running backs. He is inevitable. You can try and contain him all you want. Dynasty looking deep. He's got a one-on-one matchup, and Siege Falco's got a touchdown of 47 yards.
Siege Falco just went up against Ryan Davidson on one-on-one coverage. The 50-50 ball that could have gone either way. Ryan Davidson was out of position on the tip, and Siege Falco came down with it. Nobody else on that D could catch up to him. Falco was off to the races. The rest is history. 6 points, Atlanta retakes the lead, closing minutes here of the third quarter. What a series of unfortunate events if you're a movie fanatic here for Florida.
Are we just gonna see how many movie references we can make?
Sure, why not? Sure, why not?
I was gonna go for another Thanos reference. It's like Mark Chisholm snapped his fingers and the Florida lead just disappeared because in the last 2 minutes, Atlanta's gone from 2 scores down to 3 points up.
You know, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Now they're 4 points up though, correct? Or let's see, was it 24-20 or 24 to?
It's 24-21. So yes, they should be 28-24.
24. Okay.
Anyway, Atlanta back in the lead, and Florida kind of looking around like, what happened? They were in control. They were dominating. And 2 Chris Henry interceptions has turned into 14 quick points.
I think we're all kind of scratching our heads wondering what just happened because, you know, Florida's just trying to come up with a positive here on this next drive here to stop the bleeding and keep Atlanta's offense off the field.
I think Florida's going to have to go back to controlling time of possession and probably go back to running with Boletsky, who's been their most efficient form of offense, 155 yards on 24 carries. What I was going to mention before the last Henry interception is that last week against Seattle, they rode Boletsky to that win. 152 yards on 32 carries and a touchdown for Boletsky in that game. He's already surpassed that here in the third quarter of this game.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that was 2 drives in a row now by Florida that's ended on King Henry interceptions.
Yes,
so,
and the both ensuing Atlanta touchdown drives were 2 plays apiece.
Yeah, so they were quick drives. I think, yeah, that was my point. So yeah, and before those 2 interceptions, Florida had that 5.5 minute drive. So they need to control, but that's not going to help control the clock at all if they can't get another first down.
Napier with a huge shot. Blackwell was in on it as well. Boletsky gets no yards. We're under a minute to go in the third quarter.
Okay, yeah, so we've got a correction here in our chat. It was 23-21 before that score by Atlanta. Somehow the extra point. Oh, another interception.
This time via the deflection. Jay Miraculous comes up with it. I couldn't quite tell who it was deflected by. The replay should tell us.
And the bleeding continues. Yeah, that was Moose Papineau with that deflection.
Papineau to Miraculous, and Ron Cochran started 22 of 22?
I wanted, well, it's for 17 for sure. He was 22 for 23 at one point, and now he's got 3 interceptions in a row.
3 interceptions in his last 5 throws. As Boo Chisholm gets 9, and that'll end the third quarter. Well, we thought we were going to get an upset for Florida, and they may finish the season with an even record, but this third quarter was all swarm. It's Atlanta 28, Florida 23, as we head to the final frame of the night. And the final frame of the Florida Storm season starts right now. 11 minutes to go until they are done until July. Only the second time in franchise history that the Storm have missed the playoffs. Hollywood got the first down, only needed about a quarter of an inch.
Biggest question at this point of the ball game now for Florida is, can they come up with a stop when it matters most? I mean, even if they only give up a field goal at this point, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because it'd still be a one-score game. But they need to keep Atlanta out of the end zone. They've given up 2 long touchdowns, quick touchdown drives in a row.
Time an 8-yard out route complete to Kyle Finnemore. Don't leave the broadcast without joining our Discord server. There's so much more to do in the SFL than just being a player. Join to check out content for teams about the league created by the community. Participate in pick'em games, play SFL fantasy football, and test your skills in the survivor pool. To join our server, visit www.simulationfl.net and click on the Discord icon on the menu. The SFL community, 2,000 strong. We'll see you there. A couple of the shows you can catch. You can catch SFL Nights with AJ Stryker. You can catch The Streets Are Talking, hosted by our very own Eddie Gage, who's doing stats for us tonight. A whole lot more. The SFL Minor League show with Axel Raven will return shortly as the SFLM gears up for its next season. 3rd and 1 here. And wide open in the flat is Jamal Wooding for a first down.
And this secondary for Florida is falling apart in the later stages of this second half. After 2 quick touchdown drives in a row by Atlanta allowed, just losing Jamal Wooding on that left-hand side and coverage some, get a wide open first down inside the 20-yard line.
Actually, that was Nuff on the catch, not Wooding that last time. That's Finnemore. He slides forward for 5 as Atlanta is into the red zone once again at the Florida 13.
Where's your package of Band-Aids and first aid kit at Florida? Because you need it right about now.
Right now, as BDG Hollywood goes for no yards, the Florida defense is like sticking a Band-Aid on a bullet wound.
yeah, that's to say the least at this point.
Because even if they hold Atlanta to a field goal, they're still down 31-23.
Yeah. Somehow that point got added back on, so needs to be taken back off.
Couch! Speaking of bullets, that was a dagger to Siege Falco as he slides into the end zone, and this game is now fully in Atlanta control.
Yeah, 2-score lead now by Atlanta, looking to add that 11th win to their regular season total. Perfectly thrown ball from Dynasty to Falco. Falco now with that touchdown adding to his season total. Just adding more insult to injury to Florida's comeback bid in this ball game, now with 2 touchdowns on the evening.
Just to make everything clear, the scoreboard on the screen is incorrect. The score is Atlanta 35, Florida 23.
Correct.
So a 12-point game? 13-point? 12-point game with 8:17 to go. Not completely out of the woods for a Hall of Fame quarterback, Ron Cochran, but he certainly has not played as well as he did in the first half. In this second half, the defense of Atlanta has figured him out. APM Music is unrivaled music to bring your stories to life, inspiring every production with the world's most robust and constantly refreshed music collection, state-of-the-art technology, and world-class customer service. APM Music is the official soundtrack of the Simulation Football League. To explore their library and to find the perfect tracks for your projects, visit apmmusic.com. And with that touchdown, we have reached the over of 57.5. Let's get out of the backfield. Didn't wait for his blocks to develop, but it doesn't matter as he spins away from first contact and picks up 7.
And also with that last touchdown by Falco, he's now at 9 total for the season, 1 away from double digits.
Would not be surprised if he gets another chance to get to double digits later on in this game. Cochran, 7-step drop, heaving it long, and that time it's caught. Varadin Zarkov climbs the ladder and denies Chris Henry his hat trick.
Yeah, Varadin Zarkov with the deep post pattern across the middle went up, as you said, climbed the ladder, and just wanted that ball more than the defense did at that time, and got up there and just grabbed it and got the first down. Nice play by Zarkov.
Three receivers to the left. Scissors action to get Stephen Bush open. He spins back inside trying to get up the field and will pick up 8.
They need to get back to the what was working for them in the first half. The out routes, the deep posts and corner patterns. They've gotten away from that here in the second half.
Get the ball to Beletsky. He's been fantastic.
There you go.
They do here. Weak side run. Beletsky jukes and he can't get away from the outstretched arms of Jack the Joker Napier. 3rd down.
I want to say he's been at $155 in rushing since that first drive of the 3rd quarter, and here we are midway through the 4th now.
3rd and 1. They give it to him, but he gets the first. Now the score is correct. Thank you, Cam. And another first down for Florida. This has definitely been their best drive since early in the 3rd quarter, when they had that 5-minute, 21-second, 14-play, 68-yard drive and kicked a 21-yard field goal to open the second half. Since then, for Florida, it's been interception, interception, interception.
And they can't rely on field goals with the time the way it is now.
Had a pass to Beletsky over the middle. Nobody open deep. Cochran taking the check down.
Time now becoming an issue at 5.5 minutes left in the game, and a 12-point difference. A 2-point conversion and a field goal is not enough points to cover that difference.
Got to reach the end zone. You got to reach it twice. Nice pass to Klein. He gets out of bounds at the 11-yard line, pushed out by Napier.
I think after this next play, we'll start to see them go hurry up with them hitting that 5-minute mark. Usually that 5-minute mark is the magic clock number that you need to see a team that's down big in a game to start going hurry up. So expect them to see that going more often here.
3 straight touchdowns off of 3 straight Florida interceptions is how Atlanta has climbed back into this game and has taken a commanding lead. Beletsky, nothing across the middle, and you were correct, Nate. Here comes the up-tempo offense, but maybe not what you want to be stuck in. They do have a passing option. It is to Zarkov, I believe. No correction, that was Minson. But it's 3rd down and 5 now. Got to get to the 1-yard line for a first down. They pitch it out to Minson, and he got the first down.
Barely, but he got there.
And now 1st and goal. Cochran, time in the pocket, pitches it to the back of the end zone, and Stephen Bush has a touchdown for the Storm.
His first touchdown of the ball game gets the Storm back into this one and helps his team out here, getting them back within a 1-score difference. It'll be a 5-point difference pending this extra point, and it's an all-important extra point too. And I'll tell you why after if he should make this.
This is Ethan Sneed. He's been automatic today. Also needs 1 more field goal to get to 30 on the season. Currently sitting at 29. But the way this game is going, I don't think he's going to get another chance to kick a field goal.
No. Now I'll tell you why that's important that he made this extra point. Depending on how Atlanta's next drive goes, and they're going to go for the onside. Yeah, they're going to go up for the onsides. Well, let's see how this turns out and then I'll continue my thought.
This is a big one. They're taking the low percentage option to go for the onside kick, and they're not going to get it. Easy pickup for Atlanta to finish the point there, Nate.
Yeah, but, well, this is even more bigger point now because Atlanta's closer to that field goal range. But should Atlanta be held to a field goal, it is still a one-score game for Florida. So that's why the extra point was important there, because it is an 8-point difference, and Florida would still be in the game with a field goal should they hold Atlanta to a field goal. They just can't let up a touchdown this drive.
Well, touchdown is all Atlanta has done in the second half. 3 drives, 3 TDs, Hollywood in the open field, and he was one broken tackle away from making it 4 touchdowns in a row.
I thought I had the commentator curse there going for a second, and BDG Hollywood made me almost look guilty of it right there on that run. Had those 2 defenders not been there for Florida, but what another major run out of the backfield right there for BDG, adding on to his total. He might not have had a big game, but he was very impactful nonetheless for this Atlanta offense.
BDG Hollywood, first in carries, first in rushing yards, first in rushing touchdowns, 151 all-time for the Hall of Famer. He gets the ball again, and this time his offensive line lets him down. I believe that's Ryan Davidson who made the tackle. Yes, it was.
Good job by the defense to come up and get that 2-yard loss. They need to do it a couple more times and get Ethan Snead on the field and Florida's offense off the field.
That'd be Sammy Steele, who hasn't attempted a field goal yet today.
I was on the wrong team. Sorry.
Happens to the best of us. I formation. Stretch play. Hollywood! A spin move takes 3 defenders out of the play, and BDG potentially ices the ball game with a massive run.
With his second touchdown of the ball game, and I'm not going to say it yet because there's still time on the clock, but as you stated, could have done it with that run right there. What a spin move. He's done it all game long with moves like that, making the defense look like they weren't even there, off to that left-hand side, and then just outraces the rest of the defense on his way to the end zone, and another 2-score lead with less than 3 minutes to go.
I gotta give a huge shout out to Mitchell O'Brien, Carter Hollywood, and Sam Falco, who all picked up huge blocks on that play, allowing for Hollywood to hit that one spin move and then turn on the afterburners.
Wow. Josh Williams in the chat averaged 40 points in the last 3 games. Is indeed crazy. This Atlanta offense has been high-powered, really, all season long. They're averaging right around 31 points a game, which is good for 4th, I believe, in the league.
Well, this will bring the average up.
Oh, yeah,
Another 40-plus point game. The last 3 games for Atlanta, 24-20 over Louisiana in Week 11, 34-32 in a wild one over Indianapolis. That was the doink Sammy Steele kick to win it on the road against Indianapolis. This is probably my game of the season so far across the entirety of the SFL. And then 48-10 blowout of Tulsa in a game that we thought was going to be a potential game of the season. It ended up being not at all that. DC is up 28-21 against Baltimore in the 4th quarter, so we're still watching those potential scenarios where Baltimore, with a loss, could be bumped out of the automatic bye spots, which just feels wild to say considering they've won the last 3 championships.
And then they could miss out on a first-round bye. That's just that's crazy. That's wacky to say.
Cochran middle, caught by Bush. Just over 2 minutes to go in this one. Remember, the SFL action continues. Middle, deflection incomplete. Damon Simeon and Eddie Gage calling Vancouver and Portland, as unfortunately nothing on the line for Portland, as back-to-back losses have meant that the Fleet have no shot at the division. I remember calling their game against Louisiana a couple weeks ago and said if they won that game and maybe won the next game, that they would have a shot at Vancouver for the division in the last week of the season. That did not happen. Vancouver's already locked up that division.
Correct.
And then Nate and I will be back at 10:45 Eastern Time, a late night here on the East Coast, as Ron Cochran gets buried by Billy Ray Valentine. First time we've said his name today, and he comes up with a big play. Now 3rd and 17. Cochran, a knee-high snap. He floats it down the field, and it's intercepted. A 4th pick for Atlanta, and this one will certainly be the end of the ball game. Don Fletcher with the grab.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the icing on the cake for Florida's game here this evening and for their season. Just an unfortunate, well, why not? An unfortunate series of events. I'll go ahead and bring that phrase back for Florida here in the second half. You know, it looked like they were on their way there early in the third quarter with a 2-score lead. But Atlanta came storming back as we approached a 2-minute warning.
Atlanta was down by 10, and they have dominated the third and fourth quarters of this game after it was all Florida with time of possession in the first half. The Storm just ran out of gas, and the Swarm have taken full advantage of a couple of Ron Cochran miscues, a lucky deflection. BDG Hollywood continuing to be a nuisance as Florida starts to burn their timeouts. Where will your team end up in the playoffs? Are you in or out of contention? Can you get a first-round bye and clinch a home playoff game? From the makers of the Rick Meter, the SFL Scenario Show revs up for its 20th season tomorrow, April 15th at 11:30 p.m. Eastern, after the Saturday games conclude, and breaks down the remaining 16 scenarios entering the final 2 days of the regular season. We'll see you there. Another late night of SFL content coming up tomorrow. Hollywood first down. Timeout, Florida.
Yeah, that'll pretty much do it, though, because even with one timeout left and the first down BDG Hollywood got pretty much run out probably not all the clock, but most of the clock nonetheless.
Last game tonight, 10:45 p.m. Eastern. Stay up late with us on the East Coast, and you can hear myself and Nate call Los Angeles and Seattle, both teams out there playing for pride in the last week of the season. Tomorrow, the big games begin. Canton, London, Motor City, Queen City, Houston, Alamo City, a massive one on Next Level Sports, Arizona and Las Vegas, another massive game, Louisiana, Jacksonville, San Diego and Denver, one of those playoff clinching games. And then on Sunday, Minnesota, Sioux Falls, Charleston and Carolina, Tulsa and Indianapolis, and then Monday night, Fort Worth and Mexico City. So many games in that slate on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday with massive playoff implications. Minus the San Diego game, because that's your team.
Right.
What game are you looking forward to most this weekend?
I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to pick on my old team for a second and say the Houston Alamo City game. Because as I was taking a look at that matchup, and I'm glad it's on NLSC this week, because it deserves to be in the spotlight. Because the implications of that game is if you're the winner of that game, you still have the chance of being in the playoff race. If you lose that game, your hopes are done. You're going home and you're starting off with an early off season, and your hopes are diminished. So that's the game that I'm looking at the most. What about you?
Man, I think Houston, Alamo City is a good one. To me, since I can't say Carolina, I think Tulsa, Indianapolis. Indianapolis, at one point in the season, was looking like maybe they could be up there with those 8-3, teams fighting for that first round bye. They've dipped in the last couple of weeks, and now with a loss to Tulsa, who also just got done getting battered by Atlanta last week, they could miss the playoffs entirely. So I think that's a big one to watch out for. 27 seconds left to go. Atlanta with a 45-30 lead. We just play out the last minute. Cameron Irvine has some news for us. What's going on in Baltimore, Cam?
Thanks, Mike. When you're done, head to Baltimore, where Peanuts Say has just done this, picking off a pass off the hands of Ivory Irvin. The DC drag. Boy, what a night for Atlanta. DC beating Baltimore 35-21, but the Vultures are driving, 3:12 left. Baltimore trying not to fall further than 2.
We could see some crazy scenarios this weekend, especially if Arizona wins, if Minnesota wins, if the other 8-3 teams win. We'll see how far Baltimore potentially falls.
Oh, this could be one of the craziest weekends that we've seen in about 4 or 5 seasons.
I am looking forward to every single second of it. Just 20 seconds left. I hear from Kamish that Baltimore has just scored a touchdown. They're down 35-28 with 3 minutes left. So you have my permission. You may leave this game. We know who's going to win. And go over to watch the other game as Nate and I wrap up over here. I'm sure while we wait for our second broadcast to kick off, we're going to go over there and
absolutely
see who wins that game.
I've already got it on my TV screen as I'm calling this game just with sound on.
Are you going to do a Kevin Harlan from last NFL season and call 2 games at once?
No. Nope, I'm going to let the other guys do that one. Oh, almost came up with
that was almost Don Fletcher's second interception of the game as Jose Galliano drops that one. 4th down and 6. This punt from Marcus Agrippa, which would be his first of the game, funnily enough.
Yeah. So, yeah, if Baltimore should lose that game and have 3 losses, they could drop to 5th place should Arizona, Fort Worth, and Minnesota all win.
Fort Worth was the team I was missing from that 8-3 group. They went for it on 4th down. They got it. Big tight end Faradin Zarkov with the catch down the field against the Atlanta backups. They won't have time to get off another play, and the Swarm sting them. It's their 3rd victory all time against the Florida Storm. They've won the last 2 matchups between these 2 teams both this season, and the Atlanta Swarm are your #1 overall seed. They finish at 11-1, their best record in franchise history.
Yeah, best record in franchise history. They get to 11 wins. Consequently, the Florida Storm end up with their worst record in franchise history, 5-7. But nonetheless, they'll be off to get their season going for season 21. Look to have a really good offseason. I don't see this team. They could have been right here in the mix of things. We're talking about it pre-show, pre-game, off-air, and they had a rough start, right? They were 0-4. They won 5 of their last 7 games. And the 2 losses they had in between there against Vancouver and Sioux Falls were only by a total of 6 points. And had those 2 games that were losses gone the opposite direction, we could be talking about this very same team going into the playoffs as well as Atlanta. So this team is not very far off from where they need to be. They only probably need to make a couple of changes, honestly, with their playbook. Going to a new game also in this upcoming offseason is probably, a fresh scene also for this squad. So we'll see how that plays out for them. Also, however, they'll look to get things going for season 21, and I don't see this team being far off from a playoff hunt next season. Also, Atlanta though,
Storm.
yeah,
Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say Atlanta though, they'll be looking forward to a bye week, get 2 weeks of preparation in for whoever they're in a couple weeks.
Yep, the Florida Storm, they don't rebuild, they reload. If I have faith in anybody to come back from this and, put the SFL on notice next season, it's going to be Max Paul and his staff. He's done it consistently for years. This is only the second time they finished below 500 ever. This is actually only the second time they finished below 7 wins ever. So it's a real aberration of a season for Florida. They will be back. The Storm will be back next season. But yeah, it's an early start to the off season. The Storm headed home to sit on the couch to watch the playoffs.
Absolutely, but they'll be back next season, absolutely, for sure. There's no doubt about that, as DC's on the 1 yard line, so we're going to try to get off here as possible. Go ahead and finish us up here, Trillo.
Your player of the game is Brian Dynasty, 4 touchdowns, 310 yards. I would like to give a special shout out to Chris Henry, whose 2 interceptions just broke the game open for Atlanta, and that caused them to come back and dominate the second half. We'll get out of your way. The final from the Hive in Atlanta, 45, the Swarm, 30, the Storm. For Michelle Colston and Eddie Gage on Stats, Cameron Irvine in the truck, and Nate Hall in the broadcast booth with me. My name is Michael Trillo, saying see you shortly for our second block of the night.